puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again!
Hello and welcome back to Call Time a Theatrepod. My name is Marisa Helene Mast, and this is the space where we can talk about it all because every role in theater matters. And this is a space where we can laugh, learn, and sometimes call out the chaos. So sign in on the sheet, because it's call time. Alrighty, so I would love to introduce my guest today, who, to this day, this might sound kind of strange, but I have never met anybody with, like, better hair and just an all-around awesome personality. Near and dear to my heart, we have Kenny K. How's it going, Kenny?
Wow, what an intro. You can't, it gives me great pressure to be here because you can't put that kind of pressure on me, introducing me like that. There's probably a lot of new people watching, so I have to, really bring it now. I thought this was going to be chill and relax, but...
I mean, it is. Listen, I'm a hype girl through and through, so I will just be like, yes, let's go!
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Really, really happy to have you here. And now that you're here, let's take a look at what's happening on today's show.
Depending on the shot, especially stunts, and especially if money is involved, you are going to have to do things in one take.
Contrary to popular belief, considering that I'm on my own podcast right now, I am not very comfortable on camera. This project is to help with that.
I think my film experience is showing.
Oh my god, it's like you're an actor or something. What?
Or something.
Well, wasn't that great? Wow.
Yes. I live up to the hype.
Yes, the hype is real and the hype is good. So, Kenny, I got a question for you.
Yes, Marissa.
In my heart of hearts, I truly believe that there is good theater and film cringe and bad theater and film cringe. And I would like to know if you feel the same way and what you would put in those categories.
Okay. Yes, there absolutely is.
Yes.
If I have to think long and hard about this answer, it's actually kind of complicated.
Let's
because the good and the bad kind of tie into the same.
You know what?
So,
I love that.
The good theater cringe for me is seeing children perform in plays and, in their elementary environment.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're children, I don't expect them to truly know what acting is yet. And even if they did, they don't have all that life experience that, is just going to be so wonderful for them in their future. But, with exceptions, of course. But it's just good to see that, okay, they're still being introduced into theater and, taught to perform and, kind of get them out of their shells. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's good. The bad thing is... and it's not necessarily children, but it's just, in general, it's how Shakespeare is taught in a setting and an environment that is not for acting. I remember being introduced to Shakespeare, I think, as young as 4th grade. We were reading Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, that's a good one to start with. Okay.
Yeah, it is. And... even back then, I liked the story, but as time went by, I didn't see what the big deal was about Shakespeare, even as I was getting into acting. Mm-hmm. Then in my second year of training, when I was in Foundations, I studied with J.V. Mercanti, my Shakespeare. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But that's when I truly understood why Shakespeare was important, because the way we learned Shakespeare in that class is unlike how I learned it throughout elementary, middle school, and high school. It's like, wait a minute. Now it all makes sense to me. Now I also get why it's important to study Shakespeare and how it could make you a better actor with modern day times reading a regular script. So it just cringes me how it's like this whole time, and even till this day, that's how they teach it. And, I kind of get it because, like, okay, we're not training them to be actors. We're just trying to learn English literature. But it's like, oh, you're missing out on so much.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. Like, as someone who is a Shakespeare nerd and who has been a Shakespeare nerd since a very young age, it was one of those things where I definitely was lucky. Like, I'm skipping ahead to high school because, like, that's when it really kind of went a little heavier in school. But my drama teacher was the English teacher. So when we got to Shakespeare, it was a little bit more heavy-handed on, like, that emphasis. But I also, with other teachers that I've had in school where we talk about Shakespeare, like when we read Romeo and Juliet for the first time, which, hot take, probably not a hot take, not a fan, not my favorite in any way, shape, or form. I will die on that hill. There are better ones.
To each his own.
Yeah. But, you know, I definitely will, you know, give a shout out to teachers who are teaching Shakespeare. And I'll be honest here, my senior year of high school, we did Taming of the Shrew. We read it in class. The teacher printed it out in a very weird way. Like, it was the script, but it was like they went on, like, Concord Theatricals and, like, bought the script. So it was, like, really formatted for the actor. And so a lot of the other kids in my class had a difficult time kind of navigating it. And so my teacher kind of, no offense to them, they just kind of gave up and were like, okay, Marissa, you read Kate and handed all the other drama kids, be like, just read it. Just show them how it's supposed to sound. And
were you taught iambic pentameter in high school?
I learned independently because, again, I was a nerd. But
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, those were good cringe and bad cringe. So your background, if I'm correct, is film, yes? In a way.
Yes, most of my experience as an actor has just become film, yes.
Well, that's great, because our topic today is film and theater. Wow,
wonderful.
What a coincidence. It's like we talked about this beforehand or something. I wanted to talk about the use of, at least in this part of our conversation, there has been a large increase trend of Hollywood actors on the stage, particularly on Broadway. For instance, like, you know, George Clooney leading Good Night and Good Luck, Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal leading Othello, you know, etc. Those are just the top two at the moment that are really making headlines. I would be like Eddie Redmayne in Cabaret.
Yeah, and I don't remember the performance, the title of it, but Robert Downey Jr. made his Broadway debut last year.
Yes, he did. It's interesting because the play that he did, it did not sell as well as we hoped, as well as the company hoped as well. They were actually kind of unable to fill seats for every show. So with all these Hollywood actors, you know, stunt casting, what do you think is actually drawing them to the stage, like, specifically now?
You know, some of these actors, and I might not know this about them, but they actually might have originally come from a theater background long before everybody knew them as a Hollywood movie star. So maybe one particular actor is just going back to their roots. And, you know, you can have experience with singing and dancing as well long before you had an interest in acting. Or maybe a Hollywood celeb that's known for being a pop star had to learn to act because casting thought they were marketable. So, I mean, that's usually the case with pop stars and or celebs. In the case of Robert Downey Jr. last year, like, you know, it was his Broadway debut. Mm-hmm. So maybe as an actor, especially at his age, you think to yourself, well, what's the next step? What can I do different? What can I do better to hone my craft? You know, I have all this training, and it's just about not even for the sake of your career, but just what can I do next? That could be it. That could be it.
No, and I can appreciate that. So specifically about stunt casting, though, I think a really great example that I can think of in theater is, I don't know if you're aware or familiar. So like Chicago the musical, they are known for bringing in basically any celebrity to stick into the part any of the main crew. When my mom saw Chicago on Broadway, Wayne Brady was her Billy, and she said that he played it absolutely terrifying. And I was like, ooh, that's different. And then we have my favorite actually that I saw was Pam Anderson playing Roxy Hart. And I was like, Pam can sing? No, she can't. But she was fierce as hell, and it worked. So I'm wondering do you think that, like you said, makes them marketable? Do you think that this could also be in the negative, where they're just going to stick them on stage, barely any experience, and be like, all right, go, you're still going to sell because people know who you are?
I mean, that's going to depend on general public and, not people like you and me who know a little bit more about behind the scenes. And, when these people who produce these big musicals and plays put it together, what we're speaking about, that's not on their minds. It's about like, okay, how are we going to fill the seats? We'll use this face because it's marketable. But in turn, it might be, it might be doing the exact opposite. Yeah. So it might actually be too early to tell. It might be.
Fair enough. I mean, it's just always so interesting to be looking through, looking through the trades. I don't know why I said that, but like looking through, things that are coming to not even just Broadway, but just theaters all over, and suddenly seeing, just, hey, that's a famous Hollywood actor. They can do, they're, what are they doing there? I didn't know that they could do this. And which I guess is part of the marketing in itself. You go, oh, I'm intrigued, and then I can only imagine the pressure that the actor is feeling about, living up to any expectation, or, just being like, you know what? I know that they know I'm not fit for this, so I'm just going to say, screw it. Do whatever I want. It may be good. It may be bad. We're going to find out.
I mean, an actor in their head could be like, all right, so I didn't fill the seats. It wasn't as successful as we thought. That's why I did it, because now I know what my weakness is and what I have to work on. If I may, though,
please.
The last play I saw was Chaz Palminteri's one-man show of The Bronx Tale.
I love Bronx Tale so much.
But see, everybody forgets that's what it originally was, a one-man play. And still to this day, I think he tours and does the... And
yes, he
the only thing he uses on stage with him is a chair. He plays all the characters, he tells the story, and at the end of the play, he said to everybody, the reason why I want to perform it this way is because I want everybody here, I want all of you to see how I performed it when Robert De Niro discovered me and we went on to make the movie. And then, Chaz Palminteri throughout his career has done tons of movies. And to go back, even though it was written by him, the man still got it. Like that. Oh my God. If you haven't seen it, that's
highly recommend it. If I'm able to find a link of some sort of performance or anything like that, I'm going to put it in the description, because it is a masterclass, I think.
Yeah. If you've seen the movie, great. But if you haven't seen the one-man show,
change your life. Change your life.
Totally.
Oh, I love it so much. Awesome. So another element that I wanted to talk to you about is the increased usage of film elements in theater right now. Some of it is a lot of it is for scenic design, because a lot of people are using, a big old LED screen, cameras, kind of creating this, kind of just making cameras another character in a way. Because the top two examples I have for you with this they're both on Broadway now. It's Sarah Snook doing a one-person version of The Picture of Dorian Gray, where it's just them, all the characters, and a camera that follows them, and you see everything up close and personal. It is wild. I'm gonna post a clip of it here if I can, but Kenny, if you haven't seen it, I'm also gonna send it to you because it's fascinating. And then there's, of course, one of my personal favorites. We have Sunset Boulevard on Broadway, which is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite Broadway shows in almost every iteration. But this specific version focuses on the use of camera and film and how basically we end up seeing everything. We see sweat coming out of pores. We feel the eyes of whoever is on screen just staring through us. And even if someone is off stage, there's still a camera on them. And it's just so interesting. Do you think how do you feel about the integration of film and theater like this?
I'm open to it. And just based on your description, because I haven't seen those myself, unfortunately, the way you make it sound, I'm open to it. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I've spoken to this with other actors before because I'm trying to get a sense of it. Because, if I can't see it myself, I'll ask around about it. Because otherwise, if you would have told me that before I heard some feedback, I'd be like, I don't know. Let's keep theater in theater and film on film. But, theater's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So maybe it's just the times. Maybe it's just the times of moving forward and, this was going to inevitably happen.
Yeah. And
so,
sorry. That's interesting. I very much agree. That's a very interesting point.
That's my answer if I really think about it, because initially I want to say, but I have to remain open,
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear it. I think a lot of people are either one way or the other about it. I appreciate your openness.
It's honest.
And that's what we want here. That is what we want on this podcast, and in life. But I want to let you know, though, so specifically for Sunset Boulevard, I could talk about this forever. It's so interesting to me. Director Jamie Lloyd specifically did it this way with the film elements, not just because it was a movie first, but because his focus on the film on the film. See, I just called it a film. His focus on the show is the idea, or at least my interpretation. Please, everyone's talking different things. Speaking of the times, we are in a time now where we have cameras constantly in our faces. People are always wanting to have their 15 minutes, create content, just the oversaturation. And when you think about the character of Norma Desmond, who is a star of the past and is clinging to her 15 minutes, her delusion about what's reality and what's on screen is then pushed into the theater itself. And because there's always a camera going while the show is going on, we can't escape it either.
So the camera is also pushed into the show.
Yes, exactly. And of course, the famous thing that everyone, memes, and I still think it's a very interesting element, is that at the top of Act 2, when Joe Gillis sings the iconic titular number, Sunset Boulevard, it's live feed from backstage, him prepping and going from room to room. You can see people moving in real time. There are a couple bits here and there, but then he sings the song. He leaves the theater, walks around the block, and comes back. And so you're watching live feed of New York. So whatever happens.
It's like Birdman.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up. It gives me such Birdman vibes, and I love it so much. Listen, I don't want to say Birdman flew so Sunset Boulevard could fly, so.
But if you do say it, please, pun intended.
Full chest. But yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
But yeah, I think it's so interesting listen, I'm open about this too, because I know artistic mediums always mesh at some point or another. but I definitely worry about it being a crutch now. Because, like, instead of a really wonderful set, somebody might just use an LED screen. Or instead of, really focusing on good direction, no, this is separate from Sunset Boulevard, just for legal reasons. Instead of really good direction, where it's direction for the stage, they're only going to focus on the camera, and it kind of takes away that connection with the audience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Yeah. Now that you put it like that, I might tweak my answer a little bit.
Please.
I'm still open to it, but I most certainly don't want it to completely take over.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I hope that doesn't. I think that we are in a very interesting learning experience right now. So we will see what works and what doesn't. And the crowd is very loud. So we will know whether or not something is working.
Yeah, and the crowd's very loud, and comparing that to which seats are going to get filled up depending on which show, that's just going to tell you all the more what's going to happen from there.
Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
So now this is the part of the show where we would normally have an ad read, but I don't have those yet, so we're just going to sit here and look at the camera.
I'm trying not to blink. I give up.
Okay, and now that we're hydrated, I'd love to start off this next section by saying, Kenny, hey.
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 You like theater. You like it. Yeah, you like it. What are some of your favorite shows? I would genuinely love to know.
My favorite play of all time is Neil Simon's The Odd Couple.
Oh my god, we're besties. This is, yes. And yes.
One day, I'm going to do a 2-night performance of this play. And I want to create this myself. I want to make a 2-night performance of this play where one of my best friends, we're going to switch roles between the 2 nights.
How True West. Oh, I love it.
Yes. And that's another one of my favorites.
Beautiful.
So you can see Odd Couple and True West were kind of where I'm going with that.
I love it.
And then on a more serious note, Streetcar is a favorite play of mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
So if I had to say top 3 in terms of just plays, do we do musicals too? Or
you can if you want, sure.
Little Shop?
Yes, correct. That's a correct answer.
Yeah. It was a movie first, but if this was a musical theater and it converted to a movie, you could have fooled anybody with this one. But Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! Absolutely, love the theming here.
And Mamma Mia and Jersey Boys.
Oh my god, Mamma Mia was not expecting. I don't know why, but I love that. I love that a lot. Oh my gosh. Who do you think is Sophie's dad?
The story kind of I take it at face value.
Fair enough.
So I by the end I'm just like, let's just go with it. All 3 of them. Yeah, I really see the story through Sophie's eyes, where it's just like, I love all these guys. It doesn't even matter right now.
I love that so much. That's so wholesome. I love that. Have you ever seen the original Little Shop film in black and white?
Oh, yes, I have. The one where Jack Nicholson makes an appearance very early in his career. Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say, based on your reaction, I'm like, oh, you didn't like it because he was so flat.
It's my least favorite version.
I mean, fair.
I mean, it's only because the first version I saw was the Rick Moranis movie.
Well, I mean, top tier. Yeah. That's S tier. S tier. Rick Moranis is one of my favorite people on this planet in general.
Yes.
But his Seymour changed me. Can
I ask you,
Yeah.
Because it's actually it's also another one of my dream roles to be cast in that musical. And whether I can sing or not is irrelevant. Would you see me more as a Seymour or as Orrin?
You see, what we have to do is that we have to do a 2-night performance where you switch roles.
See, we could do that with True West and The Odd Couple, but that for I'd be down with that. But like, if anybody comes to see both shows, their mind is just going to be twisted.
See, because here's the thing, I can see you in both. Like, I genuinely can see you in both because I feel like it'd be a completely different dynamic.
I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so... All right, that's it, everybody. We're gone. Thank you. This has been Call Time at Theaterpod. No, but seriously, I would love to see you in both roles. It's a dream show of mine for sure. I will put Little Shop in one of my top musicals ever, by far. Now I gotta ask you. See, I am one where I would love to be everybody in Little Shop.
One woman show?
I'll do it. I do it at home.
Yeah, I think you could pull it off.
Except I would need like maybe 2 puppets, and I'll be good. 2 puppets and inclusion of a mean green mother from outer space. Because the fact that that's not in the stage version is a crime.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
I love it so much. But okay, cool. So I put Little Shop. The going by musicals first for me. Little Shop. I'm a really big. I was like, what do I even like? I like almost everything, but I really love Funny Girl, which is also a wonderful movie. It's Barbra Streisand, probably top tier Barbra Streisand. I really love quirky musicals. I really love Zombie Prom, which is also there is also a movie version.
There is, right?
It.
Okay, yeah.
It came later, but it's I found it on YouTube. I hope it's still there. But it has has RuPaul in it as like the special guest star playing Ms. Strick. Oh,
that's cool.
It was very, very cool, and like Ru was great. The whole cast is great. The musical never went to Broadway. It was always off Broadway. But it's also done, community, high schools. It's so much fun. I need to see it more. I love campy musicals, things that are just fun, stupid, just you're there to have a good time. But I also am like, oh yeah, my next favorite musical is Sunset Boulevard, which is like the complete opposite, where it's like, I'm an artist. I'm serious about what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's like there are 2 wolves inside of me. One's a complete theater snob, and the other is just a clown.
Hey, that makes you a great performer, honestly.
Thanks.
There's performers out there that need that.
Going to plays now. One of my favorite plays now is actually a newer play that, appeared on my feed one day. And it's called I'm Gonna Marry You, Tobey Maguire. And that title alone, it got me. But the play is about a tween in Minnesota who kidnaps Tobey Maguire, peak Spider-Man era Tobey Maguire.
Early 2000s, all right.
Yes. And is like, I'm going to marry Tobey Maguire, and holds him hostage. And it's a great play that, is about, it's coming of age, it's nostalgic, it's dark comedy. Reading it, I was laughing out loud. And sometimes when you're reading, you keep your things to yourself, but I was laughing out loud. It was so good. I really love Little Women. One of my favorite books of all time. Louisa May Alcott is a literary hero of mine. But Little Women as a play and as a musical, they are different. And they are their own thing. And I love that. I'm also literally looking at a stack of plays right now in front of me, and I'm like, what do I even read?
Yeah, I got all mine right here.
Oh, you're prepared.
These were my faves, so.
Yeah, and because they're your favorites, you always have them at hand. I love that. Getting into the real deep dive of our connections to both, film and theater. I got a few questions for you, Kenny. Okay, so some argue that star casting in theater is a necessary thing post-pandemic specifically. Do you think that this makes things more complicated? Do you agree? Not agree?
For me personally, you don't have to cast a big name star for me to see literally any of the plays and musicals that I just mentioned, because I'll see those any day. I'll go see a high school version of that because I love those stories so much, and then the songs from the musicals. But I think after post-pandemic is still fresh in terms of what's going on and what we're going to do. But then again, there's like people who are not actors or performers and who unfortunately don't know that there's a whole demographic of unknown performers out there, that can just blow you away just as well as Mr. or Mrs. Hollywood. It's really unfortunate. So it also goes back to what we were saying before, just trying to capitalize and market. So it's very complicated, and I just feel that it's not necessary, or it shouldn't be. But then again, the theater, especially the theater industry, is thrown into a bit of slum right now, or at least from what I hear.
Yeah, you're right.
I even had an instructor about a year or two ago tell me, he asked me, like, don't you want to do film more than theater? And my answer has always been, I want to do whichever one gives me a job.
That's the attitude. Yeah.
But he kind of jumped on me and said, but like, there's no money in theater, man. There's no money in theater,
Hate when people say that.
But you know what though? Like if you were to, I'm not even going to say what the numbers are now, but if anyone does their own research and sees what you can make as a principal actor on Broadway, at least compared to what my financial statements look like now, to me that's not money. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. I know he's trying to tell me there's like 10 times more money in film, but I'll take that theater job if,
Yeah, agreed. I think just being an artist, if you get paid, that's fantastic. Like, do we do this for money? Of course not, because then we would complain more. But we do this, it's nice to be compensated for our time and energy for what we've put in. But like, of course, it's about the craft. Very much so, but I'd also like to be paid well for what I do.
Well, it goes back to my original answer. What do you want to do, Kenny? Do you want to act in theater or film? Whichever one gives me a job.
Yes, exactly. And so, speaking of which, this is a fantastic segue. So, a lot of film actors do have their start in theater, or at least theater training. The top ones that I think of are like, Val Kilmer, may he rest. I think of Raul Julia, may he rest. I think of Bradley Cooper. He's resting. He's not dead. He's just resting. I think of just so many actors in general train in theater before they transition into film. Do you think that's on purpose or necessity?
It's hard to say what someone else's journey was, because when they wanted to get into acting, I don't know what persuaded them to start their training where they did. So I can only speak for myself personally. My foundation is in Meisner, which is theater based, and my career just so happened to take off more in film. So if we're talking about necessity, I would only advise anyone who's thinking about a career in acting is to, before you train anywhere else, study one of the foundations. Study one of the big foundations,
Agreed.
such as Meisner, Strasberg, Stella Adler, Uta Hagen. Pick one of those.
Yep.
Get your foundation in that. Yeah, Stanislavski. I knew I was forgetting one. Thank you.
I trained under Stanislavski method. So
wonderful. So you're a better actor than me then. Okay.
No,
So-
that's not. No. Just so you know, yeah, take a foundation course, learn the foundations, but one does not make you a better actor than the other. I want to
No.
be very clear here.
No, I was just kidding. But in all seriousness, for
Yeah.
anyone listening and watching out there, do your research on one
Yes.
of these foundations and decide which one is best for you. And even when you start that, if you feel like it's not best, drop that one and move to the next one.
That's the great thing about these foundations as well, is that they are so versatile into what you are looking for and what kind of training best fits you. Like, for instance, there's a technique called the Alexander technique. I hate it with a passion. I hate it a lot. Only because, it makes my body hurt. Because it's very focused on posture and how you hold yourself. And for me, for a very long time, it was really pushed in my face that, like, this is the way it has to be, and this is the only way you should be. And of course, when the teacher is also trying to get you to move in a certain way, it hurts. But it has helped me in many, many ways. But Stanislavski is my tried and true. I have a funny Meisner story to tell you, though. Oh my gosh. So
I need to hear it now.
yeah. Back in my hometown, there is a small theater company that I shall not say, where the artistic director is, to say she's a character is beyond. She's a very interesting, eccentric woman who claims to, teach Meisner and incorporate Meisner into every show that she does. Fine. Except her version of Meisner isn't actually a Meisner technique. This is what she claims is Meisner. She will, let's say there's a scene going on. Doesn't matter how many people are on stage. It could be a drama, it could be a comedy, doesn't matter what it is. She would, either she or somebody else, she would instruct somebody else to walk across the back of the stage with their hand like this, hiding their face, and just walking across the stage. And that's it. That's it. Like that. She was like, it's Meisner. And I'm like, what? No, you're joking. And she was not.
In my 2 years of studying and completing the technique, we never did that exercise.
Doesn't exist,
I'm
Kenny.
not. Listen, maybe I shouldn't say anything because I'm not an instructor and I'm not qualified to teach it. But it's just not what I was taught.
Nope, it's not what anybody is taught because it's not Meisner. Specifically, though, I'm curious to know if you feel that there are core skills that are essential for each medium, film, theater, and what's unique to each.
The core skills are whatever you're going to learn in any of those foundations we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not qualified to teach it, so I don't know if I should comment on what that specifically is. But
from your experience, from what you've learned.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll say a quick story first.
Please.
The reason why I feel this way is not even because it worked out for me. When I was thinking of taking acting seriously, and I think this was in 2015, I just so happened by chance to run into actor William Sadler on the subway. Now, if you don't know who William Sadler is, he played the bad guy in Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
He played President Ellis in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the first few movies. There's other films too. They're just not coming to mind. But anyways, I just went up to and asked him. It's like, "Are you William Sadler?" It's like, yeah, and he was on his way to some premiere downtown. I don't know what it was. And I told him I was thinking of taking this acting thing seriously, and do you have any advice for me? And his advice was study theater. In theater, you learn a lot of core essential skills, and if you get to perform in front of people, it's live, and that's just the way to go. He told me he himself and a lot of other, even though they're Hollywood film actors, they will tell you, or like if you research them, you'll see that they actually come from a theater or Broadway background. Now, as to what is unique compared to others is for example, if you study Stella Adler, I want to read her book, by the way. That's one book that I haven't gotten that I really want to get my hands on.
I will lend it to you.
Oh my God. Well, then you can confirm this for me, because I think I learned this from watching the documentary. She said her technique, and as rough and as crazy as she was with teaching, her technique alone is not enough. I was like, oh, wow. And when I picked that up, I'm like, okay, so that's unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Mark Ruffalo studied under her, and he's also Meisner trained, I believe, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I believe that as well.
And he's a great actor, so, if anyone watching and listening out there needs the advice, don't even take it from me. Take it from all these guys who made it, and have a successful living performing, doing what they do.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of this is education and research based, because if you, like anything, if you want an answer to something, you research it, you look it up, you study. I think for both mediums, because here's the thing, I have very little experience in film. Contrary to popular belief, considering that I'm on my own podcast right now, I am not very comfortable on camera. This project is to help with that.
See, that's good. You're branching out. You're coming out of your comfort zone, and that might be back to your original question about, like, why are film actors doing stage theater and Broadway now? So that could be why.
I wonder if you have any favorite exercises that have helped you prepare for being on set, or doing anything in particular that has helped you in your film career.
Honestly, I don't think there's, at least in my experience, I don't think there's such thing as warm-ups that are made specifically for the camera. All the warm-ups I do...
I didn't know that.
All the warm-ups I do, or should be doing, before I do a scene in front of the camera for film, are all things I taught during scene nights when I did my 2-year Meisner program. And the only reason I got to do scene nights is because I studied at the Michael Warner studio. Shout out to Michael Warner, my instructor. But wherever you decide to study Meisner, that scene night is not a essential part. That was just a big bonus. But okay. I learned how to do warm-ups there. When I first met you, the warm-ups you let us in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those warm-ups with the deep breathing and the funny sounds we make with our mouths and whatnot, and the little games we play, they'll work on film. They will. As a matter of fact, even if it's just the scene is sitting down and having a conversation with someone, they should be done. If you're doing things that have stunts and whatnot, warm-ups again will help. Maybe you want to do a little stretching, some push-ups, some jumping jacks, or whatever, depending on what the scene is calling for. You know
Fair
what
enough.
I mean? And when you do this, your voice is looser. The words will come out better. They'll flow better. You're more relaxed. They'll come out more authentically, and you'll just be more fluid. Just those exercises and those things that should be done, no matter if it's for the camera or stage.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And so, with all that being said, you train yourself properly, you exercise, you get yourself prepped. Do you notice any differences when it comes to, performances that are tailored for the camera versus tailored for the stage?
If you can convince a whole room and entertain a whole room, I think you're going to be able to do it in front of a camera lens. Maybe still that's going to require some work. I'm not saying that's a definite answer. I'm because they're both two different mediums. But if you can be big and lively, that's a lot more difficult to do than how you have to tone it down. Generally speaking, It all depends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Another critique that someone has given me is they told me, they're like, wow, you are very stage. You are very stage. Like, you're playing for people that are sitting in the very back. Love that. Incredible. You gotta reel it in a little bit because we're right here.
But see, that has to be on the film director to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, you're at a 10 right now. I love it, but I really only need you at a 6 or a 7, you know?
Yeah. So I have to... I'm sure you get this question a lot. Any film actor would. Any actor on camera would in general. How do you not... Two things. How do you not look directly down the camera lens, and how do you kind of ignore its presence?
In Meisner, you do these exercises. First year is like all, or at least the first half of it is all these weird little exercises that you're gonna question and be like, what does this have to do with acting? Trust me, stick with it.
Oh yeah, agreed.
But you know, during these exercises, you're gonna be put in certain circumstances, and they're very difficult to do. And I had such a good instructor, Michael Warner, and I could still hear him in my head to this day. Put your attention on your work, or put your attention on your scene partner. So, you know, I feel like, again, this pertains to the other question. Well, if you can be on stage and pretend like an audience full of hundreds of people aren't there, and put your attention on your scene partner, you can do that for a camera. But I could also get how the camera might be a little bit invasive depending on the blocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just doing it over and over again. You will get it. So when you're invested in that, and you've done your own homework as an actor with all the script, and you just know your character and you're prepared, it'll be easy. Or at least that's my experience. You'll be able to do it. You'll be able to do it.
Honestly, this is very inspiring and very empowering. I feel like I could be better at this now. Like, thank you for saying all of that, because it's film and being on camera has always been so intimidating to me. Because it's there. Well, and you know, you have to really stay in that moment.
Yeah, but the thing is, put it this way, I'll bet there are things about being on stage and for you doing theater that when you were originally learning that were not easy. And fast forward to today where you got it down. You'll get this down too. It's the same thing all over again, just with some different things here and there, some different aspects. But I put it this way, if you made it this far, you'll get it. There's no way you can't.
You hear that, folks? We're going to do it. We're going to be great.
And the best piece of advice I can give too is, if I can do it, so can y'all.
L'chaim to that. Awesome. Alrighty, well, now what we're going to do now is we're going to play a little game. That's right, it's time for the Green Room Games. Alrighty, so it's very interesting that you brought up the the concept of, you know, a stage actor being on camera and being like, oh, you're at a 10, I need you to maybe be at like a 7. Or a 6, you know, or something like that. Because that's actually the name of the game we're going to be doing today. Because the name of the game is Let's Do It Again, but this time... So basically how the game is going to work is that I am going to give you a line, Kenny. I'm going to give you a line. And it could be a line from a film, a show, top of my head, inside my heart. But I'm going to give you some levels. You know, we're going to go 1 to 10.
Well, what if I haven't seen it?
Just say it. Okay. Don't have to have seen it. Actually, anything that's more out of context, I feel will be better here. Because if it's something you haven't seen and you do something completely out there, it's just more entertaining for us, your audience. So let's say we're at a level 1. You're barely feeling it. Okay? Jumping it up a little bit, like to 5. We're thinking like this is an Oscar-worthy performance. Okay? So really in the moment, feeling that drama, but not like too much. And then top 10, we're talking soaps. We're talking soap opera. We're talking as much overacting as you possibly can because you need to win that daytime Emmy because you've lost 17 times in a row and you deserve it. We're starting off, pretty general here. A nice iconic line for you. The line is, "May the force be with you." And I want you to do this at a 4.
May the force be with you.
See, that was nice and genuine. Nice and genuine. Oh my gosh. Well, let's do that again. But this time, I want it at a 6.
May the force be with you.
Ooh, a little more urgency there. I like that. Okay, awesome. Here we are. Next one. We're going to do, "What the heck are those two doing in a tree?" This is a line from High School Musical, by the way. And I want to hear this at an 8.
What the heck are those two doing in a tree?
You're so sassy. I love it.
I don't know if you could tell from my blocking, but I went.
Yep. No, I saw. At first, I was like, "You're adjusting in your chair." I like that too, but you know what? I understand now. And you know what? Let's do that again, but this time, let's make it a 1.
What the heck are those two doing in a tree?
That just made it so much funnier in my eyes.
That kind of, even though that's a 1, it kind of hits better.
It kind of hits. See, this is why these things matter. Oh my God.
It ties back to, what we discussed about stage and camera. This is so relevant. I think my film experience is showing.
Oh my God. It's like you're an actor or something. What?
Or something.
Or this next one, let's do "There's no place like home." And we're going to do this at a 9.
There's no place like home.
With the...
I had an instinct not to look at the camera. Yeah, when you replay that, my eyes went this way. I was like, "Oh wait, I gotta."
It's okay. Listen, the great thing about it is, let's do it again, but this time I want you to give me a 0.
You put me from a 9 to a 0.
Yup.
I can't stop laughing. I don't know if I could do it at a 0 now.
Just try. Just try, Kenny. You have to try.
There's no place like home. I try to be so deadpan.
I love it. I love it. Imagine if the Wizard of Oz ended like that. Imagine just complete, it creates a whole different meaning.
Looking down the camera is actually her looking out the window. Just thinking about Oz again. It's like, I want to see my friends.
It turns into an Orson Welles film. So our last quote here is, sorry. I'm trying not to, it's so dramatic. It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
You had to go there. You had to go there, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, I did. And we're going to start at a 4.
It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
He's saying it as if he's done this a million times now, and he's like, "I can't believe I have to say this again. No one ever listens to me."
I mean, in the movie, he's already done it to a bunch of women, so I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but you're like really annoyed at this point. You're like, "Ugh, I hate my job. I don't get paid enough. I get minimum wage hourly with no tips.
I gotta get the suit ready,
Oh, they don't have any idea. They don't have any idea all the work I put in for them, and they don't appreciate it at all." So that being said, let's do it again. But this time, give me a 10.
Puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again!
You did that like The Sopranos. Like, oh my God,
My typecast is an Asian gangster, by the way, so a little of that came out.
Listen, when you are typecast so many times, it just comes naturally. I understand.
But the key word to typecast is cast.
Yes. Thank God. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for playing that with me.
That was so fun. Oh my God.
We are coming to the final part of this show already, which is wild, but it's talkback time, where I turn to you, the audience, on our social media accounts, which are here. And I want to hear from you. I asked you, the audience, what you think is easier, acting for the camera or acting for the stage. Thank you to everybody who participated. I really, really appreciate it. Your input matters to me very much, and I really hope that you all continue to participate. So our poll results are, that was a weird drum roll. We have 46% said acting for the stage, and then 54% said acting for the camera. Now, this was a little bit of a close call, which I kind of was not expecting. And I would love to know your thoughts on the results, as well as what you find, quote unquote, easier and why.
I think acting for the camera is easier. I mean, there are circumstances where, depending on the shot, especially stunts, and especially if money is involved, you are going to have to do things in one take. Mm-hmm. Now, whether we're talking about camera or stage, a lot of preparation and a lot of rehearsal needs to be done. I actually think there's no such thing as too much rehearsal. So if you have the blessing, which you most of the time you will have, of doing your craft in front of the camera, you will have multiple opportunities to do your shot in multiple takes. Obviously, one take is only going to make it, but your director is going to want multiple takes because the more footage, the better. On the stage, all that rehearsal and all that prep, you got one shot to do it. One shot to hit the mark.
Mm-hmm.
And you are depending beforehand for other people in your cast to hit their marks. And not even just them, but the crew as well, and the lights and the music cues.
Yep.
And then after you hit your mark, whatever is supposed to happen after that depends on you. Did you hit it or not? Otherwise, something might go kaplooey, or you better have really good improv skills.
If I had a nickel. But yeah, you know what? When you put it like that, I can understand. I can understand that for sure. And it's interesting. So from my perspective and my experience, for me, stage is so much easier. Not even just because I've done that more, but for me, because you only have one shot, that to me is the right amount of pressure to give a really good performance. Because
you work better under pressure then.
Depends. Depends. But it's also like, for film, in my experience, you know, I could give a really good performance, and maybe this is just because I need to have more experience and training and practice and whatever, but I always worry that I'm not going to be consistent in my takes, and that one is just going to be weaker than another, or it's not going to be as consistent as the director wants, and then we're just, I don't want to say wasting time, but I want to make sure that I'm a very efficient worker, and I want to make sure that no time is wasted. You know, I want to make sure that we are there for what we need to do. We get what we want for as many takes as we need, really, but like, you know, I don't, yeah.
Let them worry about that in post. No, but I get it. That's, I understand that too, and obviously that's very valid, but, you know, there is no definitive answer for this. This is just, what is your experience? And, you know, we're all going to have different answers here. Yeah.
That is true. And I have a very specific note that was sent to me by the very wonderful Matt Steele, who is both an actor for the stage and the screen. You can check out his podcast here, by the way. But he messaged me separately after taking the poll, and he said, acting for the stage feels more natural to me, but auditioning for the stage feels much, much harder than auditioning for the camera. Now, that's a question. Which do you find easier, quote unquote, to audition for?
Oh, I didn't think of that. I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think he's right. Especially since having so much experience with film. Basically nowadays, because most auditions nowadays are self-tapes.
Yes,
or are
for
through
theater and film. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you do get the chance, the blessing, or the rare chance nowadays to audition in person, I feel like I could safely say now, even if it's for a film, just think of it as theater audition now, because it's like those days are behind us where you went to an audition last minute. And it's funny because a lot of actors still to this day feel like, no, I'd rather audition in person. But it's just that's just not the way things are nowadays. And self tapes do have their benefits because you can do it over and over and over again, and you get to be the director, so to speak, as to which take is the best and which one is to submit and send in. But theater, I just think as theater, almost like for some reason, in-person auditions now, even though that is done self-tape as well, but I feel like you're eventually going to be performing in front of people live. You're going to be performing in front of the rest of the cast and crew first, obviously. But I think he's right. Like auditioning for theater might be more difficult.
I will also say, in last year, I sent, like 20 self-tapes, and it does eat away at you after a while.
Don't let that... Send in this year, you know what? Send in 50 tapes. Anyone listening or watching, send in 100. If you don't get the job, don't let that discourage you. And I know that's easier said than done. But what I've discovered in my experience is this, and it's just helped me keep going. You do your audition tape, you send it in, you don't hear back from them. Now let's say you do hear back from them, right? Great, awesome. You got the job, you do a wonderful job, and now that job is over. What do you have to do now? You have to do more auditions and send it in. You're gonna be back to square one regardless whether you get the job or not. So you just got to learn to love your own performance, and so you just keep doing it. You can't let it discredit you because it's just part of the game. It's part of the job. So that's what helps me keep going, and tape after tape puts a smile on my face when I don't hear back, because I'm going to have to do it again whether I get the job or not.
Wow, you know what? That's such a great attitude. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of everyone that is feeling inspired by that. Thank you. So that being said, though, where can people find you? I want to have you promote anything that you're currently working on, anywhere that we can cheer you on and hype you up.
Well, I just completed a film in Philly done by Strange Films Productions, and obviously it's in post right now, but they're going to do all kinds of festivals and screenings. But after they do that, like all their films, they do release them to the public. So you can subscribe to their YouTube channel at Strange Films Productions on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, that's the biggest thing I have going on for me right now. It's a fairly new channel. It's mostly a reaction channel, but I'm going to be doing some movie trivia and some games myself. You can find it and subscribe to Movies with Kenny K. And you can find me on Instagram at Kenny_K_NYC to stay updated with what's next for me and what I'm working on.
I love hearing all of this. I can't wait to see what else is coming up for you. I am already subscribed to your YouTube channel, and everybody else should do the same. Well, thank you so much, Kenny, for being my guest today. It was so much fun having you on. It was great catching up with you as well.
Yes.
Can't wait for us to work together again, too.
Just tell me when. I'm ready.
How about 5 minutes?
The best thing an actor can be is ready. Willem Dafoe.
Love Willem Dafoe. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Call Time, a Theater Pod. My name is Marisa Helene Mast. You're the audience. Bye-bye now.